Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my April TBR. I apologize if you can hear my dog's squeaky toy in the background. He decided now is the perfect time to play with it, so it is what it is. I can't take it away from him. He's too cute. I've got kind of a shorter list here because there are a lot of chunkers on this list and I have a few commitment reads I have to do, so I kept it a little brief. So with that, let's get into it. The first book on my list is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. This is one of the 12 books recommended to me by 12 booktubers. This was recommended to me by Patrick, and there is a buddy read going on in the Grimoire Discord in April, so I decided I would just read this in April. So no spinner wheel this month. I'm just reading this one this month. I know next to nothing about what this book is about. When I did my 12 books by 12 booktubers recommendations list, I mistakenly said this was a self-published book. It is not a self-published book. But other than that, I know next to nothing about it. I know it's a high fantasy, I know it's an epic fantasy story, and that's about it. And I'm super excited to read it. I'm gonna keep it as knowing as little as possible because I've heard great things and I kind of want to go into it blind. It is much bigger than I originally thought, but I'm still very excited to read it. Next up is my patron pick for April. If you missed the news earlier this month, I started a Patreon, and one of the benefits you get from that is TBR voting. So my patrons voted for a book for me to read in April, and the winner was A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah. This actually is a self-published book that has kind of taken booktube by storm. A lot of people have raved about this book, and I'm super excited to read it. Again, don't know a whole lot about it, but I want to keep it that way. I've heard that it is super good, and out of the people I've seen that have read it, they've said it's very good, and I also know it is a high fantasy, so super excited to get to that. One of my goals this year was to read more self-published books, so adding this to the list to be another self-published book to read. Next up, I have another obligation read, and that is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. This is for the huge booktuber read-along of A Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, I should say. This is the third one. This is what so many proclaim to be the best fantasy book ever written. So I am excited to read it. I'm going to be reading it in April. It's a chunker. It's huge. So far, I have enjoyed the read along, but I don't think this will ever be a favorite series like it is for so many others, just because I don't have that. I feel like I don't have an emotional connection to the story, just an appreciation for it. So overall, not a bad series by any means. I think I've given the first two 4 stars. So excited to read this to see if I am on the hype train for how good this book is. If you don't know about A Song of Ice and Fire, how it follows this like huge continent and all of the politics involved and all the different players involved, and the fantasy elements come in. There is like some magic involved. It's not like the main focus of the story, but there is some magic and there are dragons. So super cool, love dragons. I'm very excited to get to this one to see all the hype. I've heard that basically there's not a single bad moment in this book, and I'm excited to see if I agree. Next up, I have Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is the last book in the realm of the Elderlings, and I'm currently reading Fool's Quest with Alex over on Tall Guy Reads, and I know that we are both pretty nervous to get to this book, but also very excited. I'm sad that my Robin Hobb journey is, or at least my Realm of the Elderlings journey, is coming to an end of my first read through, and I'm super sad about it, but I'm also very excited and very nervous because I've heard that this is everyone's favorite and that it's emotional, and I already know that I've had a lot of emotions reading these books. Like, if this one is the most emotional, I'm in for a treat. Also, I just noticed there's like a dragon back here on the background, and I've been waiting for when Fitz's world kind of meshes more with the dragons. I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but there are dragons in the series. Fitz's like series have been kind of separate from the series that deal with the dragons, and so I'm hoping that we get some mesh here of those two storylines coming together. But overall, super excited to get to this, but also super nervous. Next up, I want to read the second Brandon Sanderson Secret Project. On April 1st, I should have the ebook in my email. So I will be getting to this hopefully in April. Fingers crossed I get to in April, but I have a lot of other books I want to read. But if this second project is as good as Tress was, then I'm gonna love it because Tress is probably in my top 3 Cosmere books of all time. I loved it so much, and I am so excited to get to this one. I think I'm gonna love it. So super excited to get to whatever the secret project is. If you don't know about these secret projects, Brandon Sanderson, who is the author of Stormlight Archive and Mistborn, while he was quarantined in his home during the height of lockdowns, he wrote 5 secret novels, one of which has been kind of put aside for the future, but the other 4 are all being released this year every 3 months, and they have special limited edition leather-bound beautiful copies, and there was like a Kickstarter. It became the largest Kickstarter ever on the Kickstarter website. I backed it at the hardcover level, so I'm not getting a package every month, I'm just getting the hardcover books, and Tress was absolutely stunning. I got my copy a few weeks ago, and so I'm very excited for this next one. Next up, I want to read The Faithless by C.L. Clarke. This is the sequel to The Unbroken, which is a fantasy story about kind of like this empire that is taking over, and this child is kind of taken from their land and trained to be a soldier, and she is fighting for this empire, and it's kind of like battling with her roots and with her current allegiances, and there is a sapphic romance involved, and it was a really entertaining book. I had The Faithless as an arc and I just couldn't get to it, so I'm hoping to read it this month, and I'm very excited because I did really enjoy the first one. Lastly on my list, I have The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. That comes out this month, or it comes out in April, but I do have an arc, so I might be able to start it before it comes out. We'll see. If not, I'll try to grab the audiobook right when it comes out. This is the finale to the Drowning Empire trilogy. This trilogy is one of my favorites. I've had a lot of fun with it. I find the magic system to be super unique. It is about this world where these people can take a shard of bone and basically write instructions on it. And with these shards of bone, they can create constructs that follow the instructions that were written on the shards of bone. And it's this whole story about an empire again, and the cruel ways that the emperor kind of like goes about enacting laws, and what his constructs do, and what his daughter is trying to figure out. His daughter is confused about her heritage, her backstory, like she just doesn't really fully grasp what has happened in her life, and she's trying to figure out like what her father envisions for her. And the story grows from there. The second one I really enjoyed. There is a romance involved, and the magic's really cool. There's animal companions. Overall, I've really enjoyed the story. So I'm super excited to finish this up, and Andrea Stewart has hinted that this last one is kind of a gut punch, so I'm a little nervous for that because she said it's really emotional. So if Mephi dies, I'll die. That's the animal companion. Alright, so I filmed my TBR before deciding to join a readathon. So, really quick, I've been able to fit most of what I had already filmed of my TBR into this readathon, so I'm going to go through the list of the readathon and say what I'm doing for each prompt. So, the readathon is the Keymark readathon, which I will put a link down below if you're wanting to join. The deadline to join is April 1st. So the first prompt is recommended by a friend. For that one, I'm going to do A Touch of Light because that was a patron pick. Number 2 is continuing a series. For that, I'm doing A Storm of Swords because that is continuing A Song of Ice and Fire. Number 3, on your TBR for over a year. That one I'm doing Assassin's Fate because I've been reading The Realm of the Elderlings for over a year, so all of them have been on my TBR for that long. Number 4 is a recent addition to your TBR, and for that I'm going to do the Brandon Sanderson Secret Project because that will be put on my TBR on April 1st, physically I mean. Number 5 is You've Been Hoarding It because you know you'll love it, and I'm going to do Bone Shard War for that one because I've been meaning to get to it for a while. I've had the arc for a while and I just haven't, so, and it's because I've been nervous because it's the end of a series, so using that one there. Number 6, you bought it for the cover. For that I'm going to do The Faithless because I actually was not planning on buying it until I saw the cover, so I did buy it. Number 7, The Intimidating Chonker. For that one, I'm going to do the Ember Blade because it is humongous. Number 8, oldest publication date on your TBR. This one I added from last month. I wanted to read The Two Towers and I didn't get to it, and that has a very old publication date obviously, so I'm going to just throw it on and try to get to it this month. Number 9 is Outside Your Comfort Zone. This one I was a little iffy on. I'm going to try to read the third Dark Tower book. And while it is a fantasy series, I'm calling it out of my comfort zone because I originally planned on DNFing the series and have been convinced to continue. So I'm hesitant about if I will like this or not. So I'm gonna try to get to that this month. We'll see. And then number 10, one on the back burner. This one's a stretch. I don't know if I'll be able to read all 10 of these books. I'm gonna try. And that is Ninth Reign. It's the first book in the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jen Williams. And I've owned the books for quite a while and I just haven't read them, so I'm gonna try to get that added. And then there's some bonus points, indie author, so I have A Touch of Light for that one. Debut novel, I think the Ember Blade is a debut novel. I guess we'll see. I'm not totally sure. Published in the 21st century is most of these. Published in the 20th century, I've got a few. Second book in a series, I have The Faithless and Two Towers. So I think I got them all. I think I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of these, but we will see. Again, I will link this readathon down below. I didn't want to refill my whole TBR, so I'm just going to tack this on at the end of me doing my whole TBR. And yeah, so thank you guys. Going to try to get to all of these this month. And until next time. So yeah, that is all of the books I want to get to in April. Kind of an ambitious list. Not a whole lot in quantity, but a lot of chunkers. So we will see how many I get to. And I'm sure I'll get to stuff that isn't on this list as well. So we'll see. April is kind of me preparing for how busy May is going to be. In May, I will be going on a 2-week trip to Japan. So my reading will probably be hampered a little bit by that trip, although I will have 2 14-hour flights. So I will be able to get some reading done in there. But otherwise, probably while I'm there, my reading will be cut back quite a bit. Other than that, April I'm hoping will be a good month for me to get a bunch of reading done in preparation for a slower month. Get some of these reads I'm really excited for out of the way before that trip. Thank you guys for watching. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below what some of the books you're wanting to read in April are. If you really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new content. You can also check the link down below to join my Patreon if you want to help choose what books I read every month. As always, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thank you guys.